Welcome to the Windows and Computer channel. And one of the interesting aspects of 2021 with Windows 10, we now know there's going to be some big changes in the menus and the way that things are done. We now know that it's going to be a different experience. And this has to do, and we were hoping that this would be the case with Panos Panay, that became head of the Windows team, as it was also so he was, ahead of the devices, and nothing like having somebody that actually is head of devices to also need to look at why Windows needs to be modified or changed for the future, because now he knows how Windows works in his own devices, and he can actually control the output. So the last year, I think it was quiet in the Windows front for a reason, a very simple reason. They started thinking about what do we need to do in Windows 10. With Windows 10 X and Windows 10 big Sun Valley user interface overhaul coming later this year, I think this year is the biggest year for Windows 10 in quite a long time. One of the interesting aspects is also Microsoft is using different wording, saying that we want to bring Windows back. What does that mean? And that's interesting because it's almost as if they're kind of acknowledging that maybe Windows 10 kind of strayed away a little too much, and that was a problem. And actually, it did kind of lose a little bit a sense of direction. There used to be a lot of keynotes and a lot of stuff talking about Windows 10, but then it kind of faded away as if Windows was not something important anymore. You got to still remember, Windows is still the second most lucrative thing in Microsoft. I mean, it is still very important for the business, even though it's not what it used to be. So there's some kind of look at 2021 as if Windows 10 needs to be recentered as something important. And of course, the different changes coming are going to be there. There's going to be some interesting things to look at also. I think in the last year and the last couple of years, we've often seen how there was a big problem with the Windows Update system, and there were some failures, and big new features and new feature updates were not always the easiest thing to do. I think it is time for all of that to be centered again. And you know what? Windows 10 X, we've seen a few pictures of how it is a simpler kind of operating system. And I think Windows 10 as an operating system might actually be something that they should also implement some of the lighter side of Windows 10 X also. And there are several changes they could do. And, there are things that haven't changed in Windows 10 in such a long time, like the taskbar, for example, and the system tray. And maybe it's really time to change this. One of the things also a lot of people have been mentioning is how the timeline feature is kind of not really used much. And that is something that has been kind of a failure. Nobody really uses it. And one of the aspects that I was reading an article about is why not integrate timeline maybe in the start menu in some way, rather than have it as a separate thing in task view, which is kind of weird. So, I don't know. This year is the year where a lot of things are going to change. And it's the year where, maybe next year in January of 2022, when I'll be here doing a video, maybe we'll be wowed at what we see. And it's the time. Now is the time for all of this to happen. And, why not? Let's hope for the best. And let's hope they do it right. And they do all of this in a way that is really, really interesting, not just visually, but also that pleases Windows users and makes the experience a better one. in more uniform, more of the same everywhere. If you enjoy our videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.